we're going to be covering something that's going to blow most of you away, because the stuff that we'll be talking about tonight, which is table funding, I just kind of happened chanced into figuring it out back in the 90s, because I got into the note business. Was one of my first real twist in the real estate investment stuff. I'd been doing all kinds of builder and flipping and all that stuff, but then I got into the note side. I just found it fascinating. And then what I found even more fascinating was an idea called table funding. And table funding changed the game for me. And I started training other people to do the same thing, because it actually works for everybody. It works for them because they can get more deals done. Works for me because I can get more notes purchased. So what I did is I kind of set my business up where I was training people to put a deal together and bring it back to me so I could fund it. And it worked because it allows you, the investor, to go out and tie up a property on a contract, and then turn around before you close on it, get it sold. So we're going to look for a buyer, but we're looking for a buyer that needs owner financing. And so once we find this person, we go to contract with them, and then we basically go to closing, which is where I show up into closing with a big fat check to cash out everybody. So the seller gets paid, and then that deed transfers basically automatic at closing, and you get paid the difference between what you contracted with a seller and what you sold to that buyer at, minus the discount on the note. So that's called a simultaneous closing. And that's what I'm going to be covering tonight, because now, and by the way, it's so hard to find simultaneous closing funds for land, for infill lots, because the discounts are so high. It just makes it impossible. I haven't found it in like 7 or 8 years before saying, you know what, we just need to put the funds together and do it. Because I was doing this back when we had houses, we were flipping houses, but I saw the opportunity in land is just amazing, and it works basically the same way. So we put the money together, and now we're able to do it with land, and that's what we're going to go through tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and kind of walk you through basically what we are really looking at here doing. So again, I call this basically a simultaneous closing. Simultaneous closing because you've got more than 2 transactions going on at the same time. So we call something where we're doing a double, something where we just have 2 transactions. We're buying it from one person and then reselling it to another. We call that a double closing. But we have like a different term really that we use in the business for where we have 3 transactions going on, and that's or more, and that's simultaneous closing. So just kind of like it just kind of like takes care of everything. So that's what we're going to be going through. Again, what we're doing 3 closings all at one time. It allows you to buy from the seller, then you sell to the buyer, and then I buy that owner financing note at closing. And then what happens is the seller gets wired a cashier's check, gets wired money, or if they opt to get a cashier's check, they can certainly do that too. And then the title company or the attorney, whoever we're closing with, they will send that money out to them. And then of course you get your difference as your profit, and the buyer gets the deed to the property. Now, what I'm describing tonight only is right now, okay, only applies to Texas. I'm working on putting more additional monies together where we can go outside the state. So I'm working as hard as fast as I can. Before, when I was doing this with houses, we had all 50 states covered. It took a little while to do that, but we went for many years. I think we had a 10-year run on it, because I bought somewhere around 60 million, no, 5-year run on it. I bought around $60 million in notes from our people, mainly about 100, 120, $130,000 notes. So it gives you an idea of the numbers. And just think about this. All those people, they were making money on these deals as they just put him through and just brought him in. So I basically am guiding you, showing you, well, how do you put the deal together? How do you structure it right? And so that I can buy that note. So, all right, so let me give you an example deal. So it helps to kind of understand the numbers and why this is so powerful financially. Now, this is the deal that I did a couple of weeks ago. I have the subdivision where the lots are going for 35 to 40,000. Somebody just threw up some new lots on there at 49. You guys know what's going on with the prices in land right now. But the top price at that point was 40,000. So I priced it with owner financing at 40,000. I've been able to contract this with the seller for a little under 7,000. And then what I did is my structure that I have in my head when I go to sell these, and basically this was just put up on Facebook and sold on Facebook marketplace, is 40,000 if I do owner financing, and I could negotiate down to 35 and take 35, 34. Heck, I'd take 33 because look at my profit margins on it, right? So I'm going to take whatever I need to get a fast turn, because the idea behind being able to do this is what I call bread and butter money, is that you can do multiple over and over. You just do a lot of them, because what you're able to do is pay some pretty high prices for land that you normally, maybe a seller will like balk at your $7,000 price. Well, I could have gone to 10, I could have gone to 15, I could have gone to 20,000 on this deal and still made a profit. All right. So what's this? The idea behind this owner financing is it allows you to go ahead and lift your price up and beat all of your competitors out there who try to beat up the seller and be able to just to find a great deal. So you can do multiple. When you can offer owner finance, you can find these buyers faster. You'll find them where they now start to line up on you, because you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 approved, and now they're waiting for you to bring them the next deal, because you'll lock up and sell this one, which happened on this one. I have 2 more buyers that I picked up off this Facebook ad. One was a cash buyer, and he was willing to pay me 34 something cash, but I didn't want to take that because he was a controlling freak of a guy. And you talk to those people and they want to do everything their way. It always costs you money, right? When you end up having to work with somebody like that. I like people who want to do things my way. And by the way, there's no faster way of getting somebody just to do everything your way than when you're the one financing them. And what this is doing, it's allowing you to finance them. So this is your note. This is you saying, hey, maybe I can finance you. Let's take a look at your credit and see what we've got. And by the way, we work with a wide variety of credit. Your jaws will drop when we get there. All right, so basically on this one, I put it out at 40K, and I got my 40K, and no negotiation, because when you're owner financing, people don't generally negotiate. They only negotiate because they're going to come up with cash. So you can get your premium price, you can get your full market price when you sell land this way. By the way, in this subdivision, the builders are paying max. Builders are paying $18,000 to $20,000 max. I got a retail buyer to give me 40 with owner financing. Other buyers are paying cash at 30 to 35 negotiated. But this is telling you something. It's telling you that while builders are great, and I sell to builders every once in a while, I might be in a subdivision where I can't oversell the property because we don't have the demand there, but the builders are there. Maybe, I don't know. But you can get more by going to the retail buyer. Now, the reason why a lot of people like builders is because you don't really have to assign them. It's easier to assign your contract to a builder than it is assigning it to a retail buyer. A retail buyer doesn't understand why you're making so much money in between them. That's not where their head is. A builder doesn't care what you make. They're looking at the bottom line. I'm going to basically, give you X amount in this subdivision. That's it. Take it or leave it. Well, they don't care if you paid $1,000 for that lot or $1,000 under what they're offering you. They absolutely don't care, but a retail buyer will. And so it's hard, if not almost impossible, to flip to a retail buyer unless you do a double closing where you're actually buying it with your money and then reselling it so they don't see what you're making. But in this case, when I come in there, nobody sees anything that you're doing because you're the seller in this situation, selling to the buyer. And that's the only transaction that's taking place on that side. And on the other side, you're just in a contract with a seller. So the two don't actually, there's actually two completely separate transactions. But we take control of it. So we're working with the title company or the lawyer to make it all work for you. So I step in at that point. I'm usually having a conversation with the closing people, and I'm going to tell them and basically arrange and tell them what we need to make it happen for you.